Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett, and we just had a heck of a session over on the voice API. Actually, I'm still over there. Let me get out of there. Um, the continuous is, I think, is a couple things. One is continuous. I think isn't quite as well fleshed out as discrete. Discrete over, I think the discrete works a little better, a little bit more reliable, a little less buggy. And then I had some bugs, and then I had some. It's just weird. Um, but now we're back over here, and we're in a good place. Not a lot to do. I want to copy. I want to get my code to the commit stage at this point. Basically, what we've done is we've gotten. Let's see. Let me start this thing up. PM start. We've gotten our routing working for the menu. And we got it basically where if you hand type in the route, the menu is updated properly. And if you click on the menu, the routing is updated. And I felt like that would be a really good place to make a commit, just for me to have as a future reference of how to kind of set up that sort of routing. Um, but before I do commits, I do like to I like to get all the unit tests passing, get 100% unit test coverage, and then get end-to-end tests and running, make sure they're all passing, and then update any new end-to-end tests that are useful. And I will say that I find that I'm just at this point I'm in a honeymoon sort of situation with Cypress. I just love it. I think it's amazing. Everything I didn't like about it, I ended up liking later. It's like that kind of thing where it's just like I don't like how they do this, and then I use it for a little bit, and then suddenly it's like that, and it's like wow, I do like that. So because they definitely have thought through the differences. Cypress, the one thing about Cypress that I kind of learned working on my job setting up a Cypress is that you spend a lot of time in JavaScript typically sort of focused on scoping and when data is available and how it's referenced and things like that. You spend a lot of time with that. You really don't do that in Cypress. In Cypress, everything's all about the context of whatever the page you're looking at is. But as you may have noticed, once I got this running, it reloaded itself, and I was at a non-existent route, and then the route ended up being the correct. It ended up going to the root. I do have two. I support two routes. One called tabular, and when you go with tabular, you'll notice that this changes. And then when you go to, and you can have no root, and then that's the default custom. Um, and the general idea is that like when this is done, there'll be the layout of these will change. So it'll be more of a table when it's tabular, and in custom it'll be wherever the user has placed anything. And then when the idea is generally in tabular is where you'll do like any sort of data, or you'll manage it, and then custom is kind of like how you want it to look. I sort of envision the idea of like having like one big animation with another little animation kind of sitting over the top of it. So possibly like an eclipse where you see the planet, the moon revolving around the Earth in uh, one video, and then you see the view of the moon from the Earth in the other video, or something like that. Um, so that is the general idea of what I want to do. But like, so tabular would be more of the mode, and so what I more of the sort of changing things and working with the specific one. Um, and then I guess custom is more of the presentation, and that I think that would be very cool. Now, what I do want to make sure, or and then right to begin with, the idea is that when we're in tabular mode, that's when you could delete. Uh, so right now we have it to where you can add one very easily by just hitting this and continue to click. And then this is custom. All of these are just sitting they're where they were calculated, but then the user would be able to go in and say, no, I want this to be sitting at this pixel, and I want it to be this wide, and I want it to be that tall, and all that. So that's coming, but right now I want to be able to delete them, and so the idea would be that to delete them, you would click over here, you'd go into tabular mode, these would all get vertical, and then you'd work on the one you want to work on. And that is the general idea. Um, and there's going to be a lot of interesting like concepts of like, hey, this and this are the same. The two different visualizations are looking at the same objects and stuff like that. So that I find to be interesting. But let's go ahead and get our Cypress tests running. Cypress and open. So now this is going to execute a command. Oh, I often forget to put the run. It is weird because they have this npm start thing where you type in npm space start, which is one of the scripts. But for everything else, you type in npm run and the script you want to run. And that is weird because then, like, you probably 99 times out of 100, I'm using npm start. So I don't put the word run in there. But for 999 things out of 100, you need to have the start there. So it is a very strange thing we've done to ourselves. All right, so as you see, Cypress is launching. It is a bit slow. It is an amazing implementation of Electron. I've always wanted, well, so is Visual Studio. I definitely think that Electron is probably going to become, or something like Electron is going to be much like Cypress. It's just like it's one of those things I just cannot believe that Electron isn't just like one of the core, like all web applications. It seems like you'd want them to be in Electron because except for like any like if you're just trying to share data information like Wikipedia, if you're trying to do something like that, then Electron doesn't make sense. But if you're actually running an application, like building an application to be used, Electron lets you control which browser people are using, and when you can control what browser people are using, that is a moving part that you do not have to accommodate, and accommodating browser versions is expensive and time consuming. And I think it's like, for most applications I've ever worked on, it's probably 10 times more difficult to accommodate than accommodating Electron. So it just blows my mind. But I think it's the people, like the people that get affected, that will have to do extra work, are higher on the food chain than if you were going to have Electron than other people. But anyway, so yesterday we ran through all these and they worked, and I guess it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world for something to work one day and not work the next day. So it makes sense. And I don't know what these are called. I think these are tests. Cypress e2e. Oh, these, I guess these are specs. Yeah, these must be specs. And like I said, I think I've noticed things being much, much slower since Angular 20. And I don't really understand why, but okay, so that one passed. We got our 3 check marks. Just clicking through, it checks our spacings, it checks our keystrokes, it checks resizing. I will say that like when I add other things like spacing, for example, like at some point I'm going to add, like, you go in there and you change the position, and then want to, once I change the position, I want to make sure it actually changed, right? And so that will go in this 003. 004 will be like if you, like let's say we had a control S to save. I think that would go in 004 because that's where we handle our inputs, or maybe not, I don't know. Resizing, if I change some other thing that it's supposed to do when you resize, that'll go in here. So I definitely want a routing one, and I don't see any reason for it to be in the middle here or all that, so I'm going to name that 006 routing. So we're going to create a new end-to-end test, and those live in here, and this is something I would never do again. I would definitely from here on out do this in its own project. I think it was such a mistake to do this inside of here, and the biggest reason, I know this is going to bite me in the future, but I had a version of TypeScript that was wrong for Angular, and I'm like, how did that even happen? And I found out through working through ChatGPT, basically when I installed Cypress has a version of TypeScript that it does, and they share the same package file. So that basically has bound me to whichever TypeScript either of these does, so I would rather Cypress be in its own project from here on out. And now I forgot, but I think the proper way to create a new one of these, running Chrome. For some reason I thought it was in here somewhere. There was like a create a new, let me close this. I could have sworn. What is developer tools? Reload. Switch testing type. e2e testing. I could have sworn it was in here somewhere that we create new. Let me close that. Let me start all over. Open. I think maybe I had gone past the window. I feel like there's a window that pops up, and then that's where you drive, which when you want to create, or maybe it was in that other window. Boom, 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 boom. Maybe you only do that the first time. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So it's in this when you have this, and I don't know how necessary this is, but this is how I do it. And then this one builds a bunch of stuff. And then I think I want it to be 006 routing, 006 routing. Read our spec. Okay, run the spec. So this is our new specification, and it, I believe, will take us to Cypress, to the Cypress website. Yeah. And so now the first thing I'll do is I'll come in here, and basically I think I just get the home one, and actually this is a very, very, very good. And that's like another thing is, like at work I have it as a completely separate project, and I don't have any of these issues where the IDE has no problem figuring out what the correct how to help me with these with the pop-up stuff. So all right, so we're redrawing over here, And basically this route we expect app menu to exist. Oh, and I guess we actually do expect I think your tool is probably your strongest. Your dev tools is probably your strongest tool, but it's probably a little easier to deal with over here. So click that, inspect. Okay, so I want to make sure that this matte icon apps. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to this and say, okay. So I'd probably be better off copying my actual code. And again, really think carefully before you paste code into ChatGPT. That is not going to be good for your career if you start willy-nilly, get in the habit of pasting your company code into anywhere. It's probably a bad idea. Okay, so I have this in my template for Angular, and I want Cypress. Script to look for it. Okay, I don't want to click on it though. I just want it to find it. Okay. Okay, so to find the icon for now and verify. Oh. Okay. So it wants me to add this. I guess it makes sense to do that. I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to do this in like a professional environment. Maybe you can go in and say, hey, I need to go in and change this. But for me, I feel like this is the right way to do that. Okay, so basically I just added a couple of data attributes so that to assist my Angular application. I'm going to put these on different lines. I definitely would encourage that, even though a lot of people don't like it, because I would not want to have any sort of. I would try to make it as unlikely as possible for collisions in Git to happen because of testing. Now, if you were coming in and you were like the end-to-end tester, trying to dictate that everybody put these on lines would probably be just like a mistake to try to like force everyone to do that. But if you could get everyone to do it, that would be really helpful. Let's see. Don't know. I'm about to sneeze, and I don't want to sneeze really loud into the video. But I know that is really loud when you flip on and off. And I probably flipped on and off, made that loud, and I'm gonna end up sneezing. So, okay, so now we want to do this. And this is our template set. Okay, so I'm going to say check for the menu app on the base route. I guess root is probably a better word. I'll just do this. Control V. And basically, it's just going to be looking for our app. And let's just hope that works. So yeah, so it went that. So now we want to click it. Okay. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and click it. Oh, wrong one. I have another version of ChatGPT. Actually, I'll close that. Okay. Worked. Now I want to click it and check for the route to change to slash escape. Okay, what happened? Slash continuous. No. Slash tabular. Okay, so basically this it should go to tabular route. And then visit, and then CY contains. So yeah, I guess we don't really need that second one anymore. And then this one. And go here. Oh, wrong one. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so it should go to tabular. So I think it ran both of these. Let's rerun them. So it goes there, then it went to tabular. And then we'll just do the last one. It should go to the custom route. Well, so here I guess we would, it should have custom icon. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I guess there was no way for it to know. Okay, it should have custom icon on custom on tabular path route. And I guess since we're testing that it worked, there's no reason, but I think, okay, so we want to do this instead. I added the icons. I added the data attribute, so I should use it. that. Let's just make sure. And I guess we just want to go straight to tabulate. There's no reason. I was thinking I'll click it. So I don't really like doing what I'm doing right now, whereas like I kind of just assumed that last thing is going to work. And now it should be. I can't remember what I named it. I think I named it custom. No, I named it whatever the actual. And we got a lot of stuff going on now. We named it table rows icon, which is probably a mistake. Would probably, well, it's not a mistake here, but it probably would be a mistake in a professional environment because, you know, these could get out of sync. So it probably should be the attribute name probably shouldn't be bound to the name of the icon. If they decide to change the icon, it should be bound to the behavior, probably. And then I think it should exist. That. No. Like this. Exist. And there we go. And there we go. I think they all passed. So we check to see if that exists. And that is working. And it would probably be a lot better if this was slower, but you know, like, and then we should go to custom route. Okay, so pretty much just copied that just so I could get the thing, this up here. And then, but we want this. And then we want to replace the should to click. And then I think one of my dogs just got in trouble. Custom. And see, we're sitting at custom. So let's just for fun make it like that. It should fail, right? Because it's looking for that to be, and it's wrong. It's customer. And so it's simple as that. We have our unit tests that are not our end-to-end tests that will ensure that this navigation here all works. You know, like if I do something that breaks it, if we were like, oh, can we change this path? We probably will see something break, but